This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a topic. We are continuing the last week of Halloween month, and so what are we talking about?
Hey, this is the reason why Indie Week was a week early this month, because we needed to wait for Castlevania Season 2 to come out on Netflix. So yeah, we're talking about Castlevania Season 1 and Season 2, because I had never seen Season 1 before 2 came out. I didn't want to just watch 4 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
No matter how good those 4 episodes were.
I was kind of thinking about it, like, what ended up happening is that we just kind of got, like, a 12-episode anime season, basically.
We did. I didn't get to say it, but we are talking about the Netflix Castlevania anime by Warren Ellis, which is maybe my favorite sequence of words in the history of the English language. Because at no point does it make any sense, you know? You're like, the Netflix, okay, Castlevania, okay, anime, by Warren Ellis, which is like the most question marks of all of them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because it's funny, because it's like, oh, I guess Warren Ellis is maybe like a secret big fan of Castlevania? No.
No.
Not really.
Not particularly, okay? Warren Ellis is the lauded comic book writer and author of Transmetropolitan, which is a damn fine comic book that you should read in the year of our Lord 2018, because it continues to be societally relevant. And he wrote Castlevania. Okay, yeah. Sure.
Apparently he's been trying to get this done since like 2007.
But he's not like a big Castlevania fan.
Yeah, I don't understand the connection. Like, you know, every so often you'll hear about like, oh, I didn't know that who is it that is a mega fan of Street Fighter?
Oh God! Every rapper?
She was in Halloween.
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah, she's a super fan of Street Fighter.
Shut the fuck up! That's awesome.
She
that's so
went
cool.
to an attorney dressed as Vega so she could hide her identity behind the mask.
That is the most radical thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Good for you, yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis. But no, our man's Warren Ellis is not like a secret Castlevania fan. He just wrote, what's the story? He like wrote a treatment for like a movie a few years ago?
Yeah, he pitched an idea for like a movie or like a mini series, and then like it kept getting passed around and like kind of started, but then not really started, and then like it's just been like in constant development since like 2007, and then finally Netflix just picked it up and gave it to a studio and hired a bunch of really good voice actors, and you know, was just like, let's just fucking go. Okay. Like one of the things I wanted to start off with talking about this before getting into, I guess getting like really into it is how much experience with Castlevania do you have?
Zero. None.
Okay.
Whatsoever. I have never played a Castlevania in my life.
So I've played like very small amounts of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Mostly on like my cousin's emulators and stuff.
Right.
And then in high school, what ended up happening is, so the way my high school friend group worked is that this happened with a lot of manga and with a lot of games, which is one person would buy the game, and then that copy would just get passed around within the group until we have all experienced it. That's why I didn't own a copy of Ace Attorney until like a year ago.
because it was like a communal copy of Ace Attorney.
Yeah, I just borrowed my friend's copy in high school, and that's how I played it. And so during drama, people would be passing around Castlevania games. I don't know what ones are I think Portrait of Ruin is a DS title.
I think so, yeah.
Like I would see them playing it, so I know very, very little about Castlevania besides, you know, the mechanics of it being like the 2D. Titular Metroidvania style Symphony of the Night kind of thing.
That's the thing, is that you would think, because like of the two of us, it was like, well, you had an N64 and I had a PlayStation 1, and like Symphony of the Night is like one of the most famous PS1 titles. But no, I've never played Symphony of the Night. I've literally never played a single Castlevania in my life. Everything I know about Castlevania is like third-hand knowledge of the franchise. I did not know a single one of these goddamn characters was like an actual thing. Like, people are like, Hector! And I was like, who dat?
Yeah, who dat?
But apparently he's like a guy. He's like a guy from the games. He's from like the PS2 games or something like that. I don't know. Fuck if I know.
Yeah, Hector actually is a protagonist of one of the PS3, PS2 games. I know that.
Nice. Okay.
I don't think he's a Belmont in the game. I think he's
something else. But yeah, so and I saw his design from like the PS2 game. It is exactly the same as the one that's in the anime. It's amazing. So yeah, that's cool.
But so it's interesting that like, well, I did back Bloodstained.
Oh yeah, okay.
I did do that. So, and I played the like demo they put out, the 8-bit like Curse of the Moon, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So I played that because that was a free download that you get for all backers.
Right. Okay.
So I played that, but like beyond that, like I've experienced very, very little Castlevania in my life. I
know nothing, and I know that like, you know, of course, after I finished the series, I was on like Twitter and Tumblr, just like, you know, consuming as much information about Castlevania as I could, because spoilers, I really, really liked Castlevania. And a lot of people were like, "There's so many references," and I was like, "I guess I'm happy. I'm happy for all of you people out there who like Castlevania and like this anime."
It's
yeah.
it's that meme picture of like the guy in the suit who's smiling as he's like pointing to the corner.
Yeah. That's exactly me. That's me with regards to Castlevania.
Or the one of SpongeBob in the commercial, and he's pointing, but like it's like he's obscured behind the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, look at that reference.
It's a reference. I don't know what a reference is and isn't, honestly. All I know is that Dracula is there and Alucard is there, and I'm pretty sure Castlevania is Castlevania the originator of Alucard? Like, you know, there's Alucard from Hellsink, but which one came first?
Oh, I think the Castlevania Alucard came first, because he's in Castlevania 3. He was back in the 80s.
Yeah, okay, then it was definitely, I think Alucard from Castlevania is the Alucard, you know?
But I think the name Alucard predates that.
Oh, really? I know nothing about Dracula at all. I mean, like, except from this anime now.
So,
like Hellsing.
So what I do know is that by technicality, the Dracula novel by Bram Stoker is canon in the Castlevania timeline.
What?
That's the same Dracula.
Shit out of me? Excuse? Okay, sure, fine, that's fine. It's fine.
I mean, maybe they got retconned. I don't know. Don't quote me on that for 100%
please.
sure.
Oh god, we're gonna have so many people who like have actually played a Castlevania before, being like, "You people don't know anything." Yeah. You're right. We know nothing.
I'm just going off of like what I've gleaned from like Wikipedia and TV tropes.
I know that they just did a re-release of Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. And that's cool, except they retranslated it because Konami gonna Konami. So, like, all of the good, bad voice acting from the original games and, you know, what is a man? A miserable pile of secrets. Oh, I knew that about Castlevania. I knew that's where that line came from. That's it. But, like, so none of that is in the re-release of this new Castlevania. It's, like, a retranslation, and it's all faithful. And it's like, come on, Konami. It's like Silent Hill all over again.
Now, I can't imagine that copies of Symphony of the Night for the PS1 are hard to come by, though.
No, I'm sure. And I mean, like, I need to, like, you know, I really, really, really enjoyed Castlevania a lot. So now I, like, really want to play Castlevania, like, a lot.
So what I have heard about this is that Symphony of the Night has the Devil May Cry 1 problem.
Oh,
which is that it's a progenitor of the Metroidvania style for Castlevania.
Right.
But if you're like, oh, I'm gonna play whatever the most current, like, DS title was,
Right.
And then go back and see where it all began. Oh no!
Oh
it's
no!
Bad.
Oh no! I know that. I don't know what the most recent one was, but I know like the one that everybody really, really liked when it came out was Order of Ecclesia.
Yes.
That was for the DS, and everybody really liked that one. It has some really solid character designs. I knew that about the franchise too. Is that all the character designs in Order of Ecclesia, or I guess that's how it's pronounced. I guess like Ecclesiastes. So Ecclesia. I don't know. I know the character designs in that are like super solid, and it's really good. But again, that's the extent of my Castlevania knowledge. I still really want to play Symphony of the Night, mostly because I'm in love with Alucard. Yeah, it's a problem. So it's fine.
I mean, he's also in 3. You can just play 3.
Yeah, but
which is the one that the anime is based off of.
Okay, I guess I should just play 3 then. It's fine.
So but yeah, so like also the fact that Simon and Richter are in Smash now makes you want to be like, I'm like,
Richter,
Symphony of the Night.
Richter is the protagonist. Is he? Who's the protagonist of Rondo of Blood then? I thought that was Richter.
I think it's still Richter.
Oh, okay.
I think he just gets 2.
Okay, he just gets 2 games. Okay, cool. Because I knew that Richter was in Rondo of Blood, and Simon is Castlevania 1, right?
And 2.
And 2, okay.
Because 2 is called Simon's Quest.
Oh, well, I didn't know that part. Again, so I know nothing about this franchise. Have you noticed?
I was reading up about it because, like, people are talking about Castlevania now.
Right.
Apparently, the plot of 2 is that Simon is gathering up the body parts of Dracula.
Oh.
To bring him back to kill him again.
Well, I know that. Okay. No, I don't remember it, but there's an episode of Sequelitis, like Ego Raptor has an episode of Sequelitis about Castlevanias 1 and 2, and how Castlevania 2 is not as good as Castlevania 1, and I know it's about, like, what a horrible night for a curse. I know that part.
Right.
That's it. That's the extent of my knowledge, is an episode of Sequelitis. That's it.
It's super, super tertiary stuff I know about Castlevania.
Until we watch the show, which, have I mentioned, is pretty good.
So here's the other weird thing about this.
Okay.
Is that, hey, when was the last time an American adaptation of a Japanese product worked?
Yeah, maybe never.
Like, think about every other American-based, like video game thing.
Yeah.
When was the last time a video game show was good?
Never. I literally couldn't think of one off the... If I did some research, I could probably find one. But, like, most of them are, like, anime. And even then, like, most anime I've seen that are based off of video games, I'm thinking of, like, Ace Attorney and Persona 5, are, like, not that good.
No.
They're just kind of, like, okay.
I guess Pokemon?
Rage of Bahamut.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I guess that one's also the same thing as Castlevania, where it's like, it's kind of like, it's got the name, and that's about it.
It just kind of does its own thing, and because it does its own thing, it's, like, really, really good. That's why people like it so much. I guess that's why Castlevania and Rage of Bahamut Genesis work. Because, like, yeah, Castlevania is the best Devil May Cry 1 anime ever made, right?
Yeah. I made that Tumblr post that was like, so Castlevania anime is the best Devil May Cry 1 anime.
Yes.
And Devil May Cry 1 is the best 3D Castlevania game. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Phantom Blood is the best Castlevania anime.
Yeah. Exactly. It all comes full circle. It's great. Yeah, no. And I was kind of like, well, maybe when I finally watched... Because, like, I was making that joke before I even watched Castlevania. Just, like, what I had seen of, like, the Cyclops fight, mostly. I was like... I'm like, is this just Devil May Cry? Is this just a Devil May Cry anime? Is that what this is? And then I was like, when I watched it, I'm like, maybe it won't be as much as I thought. No, I'm wrong. It actually is the best Devil May Cry anime you could possibly watch right now. So, yeah, it rules. Man... Castlevania is really, really good. Like, we're kind of beating around the bush. But Castlevania, the Netflix Castlevania anime by Warren Ellis is really good.
It's, like, shockingly good, and I'm glad that it's so well received because it's so different from what they don't go to Castlevania until episode 10.
Yeah, they don't actually go to the castle until, like, the very end of the season, but, like, boy, when they do, that slow burn, though, that slow burn then, like, just explodes, and you get, like, an episode that is literally from start to finish action sequences, and then at the very end, it takes its sweet time to also, like, ruin your life with sadness. You know, like, thanks for that, I guess. Sure. Episode fucking 11 of this series is just like, hey, are you having a good time with all these fight scenes? Are you really ready to be really, really, really sad now? And I was like, no. And then it happened anyway, because I wasn't prepared, and Castlevania doesn't stop. And
it
I was
doesn't
like,
care about your feelings.
It doesn't care about my feelings. I should have remembered that, because it is written by Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
And Warren Ellis doesn't care about how sad you are. He's just there to ruin your day. And, yeah, it's good.
The sheer quality of writing in this series is perfectly summed up by the first, like, 10 minutes of the first episode.
Yeah.
Which is the most brutal execution of, you know, the witch burning of an innocent woman. It's first with Lisa and Dracula, and you start to fall for that right away, and then immediately cut to her being burned alive.
Burned at the stake. Yeah, I remember I texted you, because you had already seen all of it, and I was texting you in the middle of it, and I was like, boy, this is really sweet. I can't wait to see how doomed she is. And then literally 30 seconds later, I'm texting you like, boy, we're just getting right into it, okay? Fine. I guess we're just not even gonna, like, wait to let this soak in. We're just gonna launch right into misery, okay?
No, right away.
Right away, fine.
And then after that, you get the brutal massacre of a village.
So radical.
Blood raining and spears dropping down into priests illogically doesn't quite work.
It is, all I could think the whole time I'm watching it, I was just like, metal. This is just a heavy metal album cover.
And
how fucking dope.
And then smash cut to two farmers talking about how one guy caught another guy fucking his goat, and said he brained him with a shovel.
Do you think Warren Ellis wrote this show, you guys?
I think
Warren Ellis wrote Castlevania.
I think Warren Ellis has some opinions about the quality of the church.
And about the human race in general, and they're not very kind. What a shocker.
He's got some thoughts.
I think Warren, the thing is that I see a lot of people on Twitter right now, because everybody wants to have their hot fucking take about a new thing, and I'm guilty of that too. I'll put out a hot fucking take sometimes, because I'm a jackass.
That's what this podcast is.
That's true.
It's just 2 hours every other week of hot takes.
And then sometimes, you know, I do it on Twitter too, because I don't know how to stop. But yeah, everybody is like, oh, it's so edgy, and it's about, like, the church, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fair, but, you do know that this has, like, been this man's, like, thing for 30 years, right?
Yeah,
like, Warren Ellis has never actually stopped being angry about organized religion. It's a little different, you know what I mean?
This is just what he does.
It's just kind of what he does, man.
I mean, we're used to it.
It's really more so that he just doesn't like power structures, like, at all, because, I mean, again, you should probably go read Transmet. Have I mentioned you should read Transmet? It's very good.
He also has some opinions on things like the government.
And people, and how bad people are, and, you know, like career politicians, and, like, exploitative businessmen who also run and who also try to be politicians. The military, sexism, racism, you know.
He's got opinions.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
Journalism. You know, just like, you know, like a lot of opinions about everything. So, I mean, generally speaking, if you thought, man, you know, Castlevania is just like a dumb video game franchise about, like, vampires and shit, surely Warren Ellis won't inject his politics into Castle. Well, you're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't resist doing that to Next Wave, which was designed to be the biggest, dumbest action comic of all time.
Shocker.
And
His
he
run on
still
Next
did
Wave
it.
fucking rules.
Next Wave is one of the best runs ever to exist, ever.
So
my favorite thing about Next Wave is that Next Wave, because it's still a Marvel comic, it can't, get too heavy with its violence and language, right?
Right.
So Warren Ellis censors himself by having everyone speak in skulls.
Yes.
As their, censorship.
Yeah.
Every writer who handles those characters after Next Wave, handles Monica Rambeau, Elsa Bloodstone, Boom Boom, Machine Man, and the Captain, they all still use the skulls to censor themselves.
Nice. That's how it should be.
It's just their thing now.
It's just their thing. Listen, that's just how Warren Ellis rolls, guys. Mm-hmm. So it's like, when you saw his name on the credits, you should have kind of been ready.
Yeah.
For it, it's fine. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. It's still really, really good series.
Still really, really damn good. And it's just brutal. It's just about the whole first episode is just this is what the show is about. If you don't like it, you gotta go. I'm sorry, you gotta go. You're not gonna have a good time, man.
It's not going to get any better than this.
And then it kind of does at the very end of season 2. It's you have still a nice moment, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Okay. Sure, that's fine. I'm happy that everybody is sort of happy except for one character. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah. Oh god, why can't I stop crying? Oh god. Thanks, Warren Ellis. I want to know who designed that scene. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to know whose decision it was to end it on that. Because I'm going to fight that singular person. I'm going to go to their house and be like, you.
But no, it was really good that I'm glad that it did get a season 2 after getting only 4 episodes for season 1, which is not nearly enough to set up anything. Mm-hmm. But they are masters of pacing for season 1. Yeah. Especially.
The pacing is just solid. The whole show is actually, some people will be like, there's a lot of talking in season 2. 1, you're right. 2, that's fine. The pacing is still really, really good. Especially, season 1 has great pacing, but I really liked the fact that season 2 could just take it really slow, Mm-hmm. So good. I remember I texted you again, and I was like, I wouldn't mind if this whole season was people talking. And you were like, boy, you're in for a treat then.
Yeah.
Because that's most of what season 2 is.
Dracula's the main character of season 2.
Yeah, he aggressively is, and it rules, because he doesn't actually do anything until the very end, and then he really, really does something. The whole season 2 is, mostly just Dracula being tired. And mood, right?
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
He's very tired.
Yeah.
Godbrand is one of the best characters in anything.
Godbrand is my favorite character because he exists to get beat up by everybody, okay? Everybody dunks on Godbrand constantly.
He is I love just this complete shithead.
Yeah, a not graceful vampire at all. Yeah. Everybody else is yes, gothic. And then here's fucking Godbrand, a Viking vampire.
Yeah. And he is he wants to get drunk, and he wants to murder something, right now.
Godbrand, you've never met anything you couldn't fight, or kill, fuck, or turn into a boat.
and then he's just I like boats.
I'm a Viking! We build boats!
He's genuinely hurt by the last one. He's but I like boats.
He's a Viking. That's his job, man. Boats are their thing, okay? So amazing.
Going up to Dracula, king of all vampires.
Yeah.
And being listen, pig's blood gives me the shits. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, but see, that's why I'm so glad Godbrand exists to get dunked on, because the next line is one of the rawest lines ever put to dialogue, and it's It's something like, if you don't get out, but then he says, I will slit you up the middle and eat your heart. And I was like, oh my god. Heavy metal! It's the whole show! It's just a bunch of heavy metal bullshit. It's the best. Oh my god. It's so good. Yeah, Dracula rules this whole... I mean, he doesn't do anything for, like... There's one flashback where he really, really does a lot.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the show, he does a whole lot. And then the rest of the time, he's just sitting in his chair because he's sad and he misses his wife, and his life is a train wreck. Oh, God.
And no one will shut up.
And no one will shut the fuck up and just kill everything. God, he's like, why do we have to have a plan? Don't you people understand wanton murder? Come on.
He's like, I had one goal. I had one job for all of you to do.
Singular.
Which is just kill people.
That's it.
Okay,
you don't need a plan. You don't need a strategy.
You are unstoppable. You're immortal undead beings. Just go.
Just go. And the thing is that, like, if they had just done it, they would have won. It's kind of like, if they had just been like, let's go do a murder, instead of, like, all this politics shit, like, the Trainwreck trio wouldn't have been able to actually do anything, you know?
Like, remember that scene where Godbrand was like, hey, fuck it. Let's just go. And no, he's gathered up a bunch of other vampires, and they easily massacred an entire town with, like, 0 problems at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, fucking...
But everybody has to do their fucking politics bullshit instead. And it's like, the only person who gets it is Isaac, who is, like, one of the best characters in the show. Don't even start with me. I love Isaac.
Carmilla has to show up 15 minutes late with Starbucks and cause more problems.
And ruin everything. Carmilla is incredible.
Carmilla's entrance
so
is that
stupid.
gif of the woman, like, walking through the door and, like, with her arms up.
She's so fucking stupid. The thing is that, like, Carmilla and Hector are morosexual bait. You know what I mean? Like, if you are attracted to dumbasses and dumbasses exclusively, do I have a pair of characters for you? Okay? Because, like, boy, they're both dumb. It's just that, like, Carmilla is marginally less dumb than everybody else.
Carmilla's just more of a piece of shit.
She's just a huge piece of shit, and I love her.
So she's more willing to do, like, asshole things than Hector is.
Yeah, oh, Hector. Oh, Hector. Boy, if it's like, you know, if the summary of Castlevania Season 2 is Dracula did nothing wrong, then the inverse of that for Season 2 is Hector did everything wrong.
And not in a morality standpoint, more of an incompetence standpoint. And
I mean, just like a ding-dong, like a real true blue 100% dipshit, you know? Like a real dumb guy. A real dumb guy who just doesn't understand, like things. Like, you're like gonna turn on Dracula? Like, what did you think would happen?
It's like Carmilla said, like, he's a child. He didn't grow past that state, in maturity.
You're all man-children is the best line in Castlevania Season 2, other than all of the other good ones, I mean. But the bit where she loses her mind and calls everybody a man-child is just like, so good. So good. Thank you. I mean, like, all of the talking in this show is so good. I could just listen to everybody talk for hours, and I did.
Yeah, I mean, it helped. It helped for one thing. The season, the season. You know, if you're coming into coming into Castlevania, and you're like, oh, this is a video game. It'll be an action series. It's very much not.
It's very much not. Like, Season 1 is, but that's only because there's 4 episodes.
Yeah,
and even then, there actually isn't a lot of action. That's really only at the end of, like, 2 episodes.
There's the villager fight, and then the fight with Alucard.
And the Cyclops
fight, yeah.
And the Cyclops fight is really, like, not much of a fight. It's just, like, one really cool sequence that, again, makes it into the best Devil May Cry anime ever made.
But the fact that it is all talking is aided by the fact that the writing is very good, and the character
dialogue
dynamics
is incredible.
Are great.
Yeah. Like, all of the character dynamics, I'm, like, really hoping that Season 3, because I do know they confirmed Season 3.
Yes, they did confirm season 2 and 3 at the same time, I believe,
nice.
Actually.
So what we need is that we need season 3 to be a full, proper 12-episode run, and all it is for 12 whole episodes is just Alucard, Trevor, and Sypha talking to each other for 12 episodes. That's it! Are you kidding me? Of course I would watch a show of that. Oh my god, just make it a sitcom where they just show up out of the blue and are like, Alucard, we brought gifts! And then, like, that's it. It's hijinks. Alucard has a zombie dog. It's great, you know? Like,
yeah, like, but still, like, even everything with Dracula and the castle and, like, all of the interpolitics are, like, interesting because everyone is such a jackass.
Everybody is just an irredeemable piece of human garbage, you know? And it's great.
And that's what made it great, because they're all betraying each other constantly.
Yeah, the only person in the right is Dracula, and I mean, like, he still kind of wants to do a genocide, you know what I mean? Like, he's still into big murders, but it's really just because he's, like, tired, and then you realize after a certain point, it's like, oh, he also wants to have all the vampires starve to death. He just wants everything to go away. And then suddenly you just really, really love him. It's like, oh, Dracula did nothing wrong. He's just really tired.
Like Godbrand comes up to me, he's like, well, what about us vampires? And Dracula internally is like, yeah, you too.
Yeah, idiot. And there is a part where he goes to move the castle to the river town or whatever, and he's like, I have to, you know, to satisfy a bunch of people who will be dead in a year anyways. You know, he said, it's like, that's the exact line. It's like, oh, okay, he knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. He just wants to starve everybody out. Cool.
Yeah, he's like, you know, they're like, oh, but we won't have any people to feed on anymore. And Dracula's like, yeah. I wrote that down already. Yep.
Yep, that is actually the plan. He's just kind of like lying to Hector and them. Yeah. Like, yeah, no, we'll do. Yeah, I've got blood stores. It's fine. No.
Dracula lied to us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dracula. He's like a 2,000-year-old vampire at this point. He's like kind of like a god. You know? So yeah, he's gonna lie to you guys.
I'm not really into this anymore.
His wife is dead and life isn't fair and everybody is a bastard-coated bastard filled with bastard. With a side of bastard.
Like, honestly, Carmilla is very lucky that Dracula is very tired, because if she came in and she was like, hey, Dracula, your wife was a bitch, she would be dead.
She would be dead. Yeah.
If he was, like, a little bit less tired, yeah, it would have been like, oh, her head's off right now.
Oh, God, there goes Carmilla. Okay, cool.
Well, yeah, that was quick.
That was easy. I guess that's all. I guess he could have just done that. Yeah. If he had done that, then, you know, I feel like without Carmilla fucking things up, it actually would have gone very smoothly for him. It would have just been like, oh, commit murder. Do a big murder.
I'll bet, like, when he picked up that Trevor, Alucard, and Sypha were there, he's like, I probably should have just killed Carmilla right away.
Yeah. Should have just handled that one. Oh, well. Yeah.
This is staggeringly inconvenient right now.
You three are really, really getting in the way of all of my murder. I've got a lot of people to kill, you three, okay?
His castle engine broke, and he was like, you know, maybe I should have just been a little bit more proactive after all.
I should have gotten out of the chair, like, a couple more times. Just a couple more times. But,
even once would have just been, all right.
But, you know, like, the thing is that Castlevania Season 2 is the definition of a slow burn.
Oh, it's 8 episodes long and 6 of them are walking and talking.
Or sitting in a library. Yeah. And you think that sounds bad, but no. Take my word for it. It rules. Like
they give you one action scene.
Yeah.
With the trio, and then it's like, okay, well, they're gonna go hang out in a basement for a few episodes now.
You know what? I kind of loved it. I was. If you had told me about it, then like that sounds boring. No.
Like we were on episode 9 of season 2, or episode 9 of the 12, and I turned to Melissa and I'm like, so I guess season 3 will be the entirety of actual raid of Castlevania. Like they're gonna do the video game stuff in season 3.
Those motherfuckers speed ran Castlevania 3. That's what happened.
They did the Symphony of the Night glitch run.
Exactly. That was what happened there. They did Castlevania 3 speed run. Okay.
That's how you know this is an accurate adaptation of Castlevania, because it's a speed run.
They were literally just and then you just hold down the A button for as long as you can to build 300 frames of momentum. And then you release it and you'll lock the teleporting castle in place. And then you can just walk up the stairs and go fight Dracula and you're done.
Alucard legitimately did do a backdash glitch, to build up his speed to bypass an obstacle.
Exactly, it's fine.
Yeah, so I was because they've got to fight the Mummy, and they've got to fight Death, and
no.
Frankenstein. No, they're just doing it now. Okay,
we are just fuck it. We're doing it live. We're gonna drop a bunch of holy water into the front porch, and then we're gonna saunter right in and fuck up everybody's day, and it's the best.
Okay, I want to get back to that, to discuss that more in depth, later on, because that's one of the best things ever. But for real, talk about fuck ups.
Oh, Carmilla. Carmilla, you thought you were being fucking clever.
Oh, I'm gonna be so smart, and I'm gonna turn this whole river into holy water. It'll be the best plan ever. And then the castle gets teleported into the water. and I turned to Melissa and I go, that's still all holy water. And her eyes widened, and we both watched the water just flood in and
just
kill all the vampires.
Right in and turn them all into paste. And there's that really great part where Hector and Carmilla are backed up against a pillar, and they're oh god, and it's the best. Because you're just boy, bitch, you didn't expect this one bit, did you? You are so fucking dumb. She's so stupid. I mean, I love her, but she's so stupid. They're both so stupid. I don't know how they're still alive. It's literally they are both alive by the grace of Dracula being tired.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Otherwise, all of their scheming bullshit would have been done ages ago. But Dracula was tired.
Actually, if you think about it, they're only alive because Sypha was incompetent in that moment. If she was good at it,
right?
They would... None of the vampires would have been dead because she wouldn't have accidentally teleported the castle into the water.
It's just because the castle put up a fight. It didn't want to go. It was no, we're not teleporting right now. And yeah. Oh man, how about, by the way, just the cutest character moment ever is when they actually teleport the castle and finally get it up. And Alucard is where did you put the castle? And she's right above us. And she's clapping because she's so happy and excited. I think Alucard is right above us, Sypha. Right above us, above this really ancient vault on crumbling foundations. That right above us, Sypha. All right, amazing.
Yeah, we should probably go.
We should probably leave. You should probably go. Yeah, it was so. Literally, the best part of Castlevania Season 2 is all of their their whole conversations are just golden.
Well, it's like I told you last night, where it's the whole thing is that the reason that there's 3 of them, I'm presuming one of the reasons, for one thing, what's kind of significant about this is that despite all the cool references and nods, the villager fight in Season 1 is just look at Trevor using all of the Castlevania weapons. There's the holy water bomb, there's the hand axe, there's the cross.
Right. Yeah, references everywhere.
Yeah, all these references crammed in, and they just fucking wholesale cut out a whole party member.
Oh yeah, the dude. What's his name?
Grant.
Yeah, that
Grant
guy.
Dynasty is just completely excised from the entire anime.
Bye, dude. I guess you're gonna be in Season 3. Maybe.
I guess if they're gonna be doing a world tour thing, I guess having a pirate on your team is good. But it's funny because now they're down to 3. Like I said. It reminds me of the Blue Man Group logic, which is the reason there's 3 members of the Blue Man Group on the stage at all times is because 3 is the smallest group number where someone can be excluded.
Right, yeah.
So that's what happens in every single conversation between the trio is someone's being excluded.
Right. Somebody is being made fun of or excluded. Yeah, the what is the title card, and it is the title card, right? Mm-hmm. Is the eat shit and die. Yes, fuck you.
Yeah.
That is probably going to be the title card if I have my
best.
way. Because, like, I saw that screen. I think that screenshot is basically what sold me on watching Castlevania. Like, I was like, yeah, we're going to watch Castlevania for the Gorge, and it'll be fun. And then I saw that screenshot, and I was like, I am watching Castlevania tonight.
What sold me on it back in season 1 was I was like, oh, Castlevania, that's cool. And then I saw a gift set of the bit where Trevor is fighting the priests in the alleyway.
Yes.
And he swings the whip and it cuts off a guy's finger and he's like, oh hell, I'm sorry. I just meant to snatch the weapon out of your hand. Is your finger okay? And the priest goes, what fucking finger?
It's so good. Whole show of that. Just a whole show of people. And it's not like Joss Whedon bullshit quippiness. It's just that everybody is like really, really short-tempered with everybody,
yes.
and they still get along. It's not like Joss Whedon's fucking, like, everybody has got a one-liner. It's really more like everybody is like, fuck you, I want a nap.
What it is everyone is trying to get the last word.
That's exactly it, yeah. That's
like,
what it is.
It's every line, every like little back and forth is like that Twitter feud where you're like, I gotta get the last little snip in. I gotta get the line in.
Right, yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's literally all of Alucard and Trevor's relationship in season 2 is that. God, there's one that I love, and it could almost be the title card too, is when they're talking about, about how Dracula taught Lisa how to be a doctor, and Trevor's is like, what was the first lesson? Bloodletting? And Alucard goes, God, you think you're still funny. And I'm just like, 1, I love you. 2, I love you. And I understand that feeling as well. Oh God, you think you're still funny. Like, boy, you would think you're like, oh, it's good. Alucard, and he's like kind of sad. I mean, justifiably so. His whole life is falling apart. And so, it's cool. You can be sad, my man. Nobody's going to hold that against you. But you think, like, it's gonna be, like, the Alucard is the straight man, and, Sypha and Trevor are the ones getting into trouble. No, aggressively not. Alucard is a petulant little shit kid the whole show.
They do a great job of trading back and forth who is the straight man in their conversations.
Yeah,
like,
it's the best.
Sometimes it's Trevor, sometimes it's Sypha, sometimes it's Alucard. Like, it rotates.
And so instead of having everybody be, like, there's always that one character who's kind of a killjoy. No, nobody is a killjoy. Everybody is just kind of, like, having to put up with their friends. And they are. That's the coolest part about the Castlevania, is that by the end of season 2, you're like, oh, all of these people are friends. And you really get the sense of that, and it's the best.
Well, even right in the beginning of season 1 with the eat shit and die, yes, fuck you thing, both of them just start laughing afterwards.
Yeah, oh my god, because they realize how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, they're both just being shitheads to each other.
It's so
like, it's
good.
all in fun.
It's so good. I live for those kind of character dynamics, and the fact that it's like 12 whole episodes of nothing but that. Every single time the 3 of them are having a conversation, somebody is telling the other they're an asshole. The bit where Sypha is like, I don't break things. And they're like, oh, so we agree she broke it. Oh, she broke it. Yeah, she broke it. That whole exchange is golden. Like, stuff like that.
Anyway, Sypha, after you broke it.
After you broke the thing, thanks. Yeah, whole show of that, and Carmilla punting Godbrand down a flight of stairs, which is definitely my favorite, probably one of my top 5 favorite things in the whole, like, show, was just Carmilla literally punting Godbrand down a flight of stairs, and I'm like, you deserve that. I mean, she sucks, but you also deserve that, dipshit. It's the best. It's the best. Like,
you're gonna ruin everything before I can ruin everything.
Don't get in the way of me ruining everything with your ruining everything, you shit. Oh my god.
I called first, fuck up.
And boy, does she ever. Oh my god. Yeah, let's turn a river into holy water, Carmilla. There's literally no way that could ever possibly backfire on you. I mean, like, even if the, like like, if the castle hadn't just kind of started teleporting, you know, all it takes is one really well-aimed, like, cannon.
Yeah, like, all you really need to do is just kind of push her.
You just kind of gotta shove her.
If someone just gets pushed in there, then they die.
They die, because it's a whole river. It's not like a little spritz of holy water.
Yeah,
Carmilla.
It's not like a lake that you can kind of avoid. Like, you did the whole river.
You kind of, like, if I splash Carmilla with holy water, she's probably going to have a bad day and be mad, but, like, if you push her and gravity takes over and she falls, like, full body into holy water, I mean like, that's bad. That's bad news bears. It's not a good plan, Carmilla.
I get it, it's flashy and showy, but, like...
And I guess that's what this whole show is. It's just a bunch of drama queens trying to out-drama queen each other, right?
Well, speaking of drama queens, you just look at Isaac, and it's like...
Oh god, everybody's so dramatic. Oh, Isaac, you're the best, though. Isaac is like my sleeper fave. Like, yeah, it's like the trio kind of all counts as one character. And then you've got, like, Dracula, who's Dracula and the best. And then there's Carmilla. But then, like, maybe even above Carmilla, just because at least Isaac has, like, a brain in his head, is Isaac, who is amazing and is just, like, constantly just, no, I am so fed up. He understands. Isaac is a man who understands that people are the worst, and we're all very, very tired. The world has gone to shit, so, like, fuck it. Let's just not, you know?
But then there's him where he's doing the dramatic shoujo sparkle. There's no such thing as love.
Even though he's, like, helplessly in love with Dracula.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Even though, like, the reason he's doing this genocide is because Dracula loved his wife that much.
Yeah, you know, it's fine. Look, they're all very dramatic people. It's fine. It's a gothic horror action show. It's kind of the name of the game, guys. It's like drama everywhere. If it wasn't dramatic, it wouldn't fit its genre. Like, please go watch a gothic anything and be like, oh god, they're all like this all the time. Okay, it's fine.
Now, I do have to give Isaac one strike against him, and that is that he put Godbrand down before we got a chance for Trevor to fight Godbrand.
You're right. That is true. I did want to see somebody who could, like, fight Godbrand.
Yeah. Because there's that bit where in season 1 where Trevor kicks Alucard in the balls, and he's like, please, this isn't a bar fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, that would have been good payoff if like he got in an actual bar fight with Godbrand.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but nobody is like, this is Castlevania, a series where they've killed Dracula like 7 times now, something like that. Dracula is just aggressively, constantly not being dead when he should be dead. So who knows? Maybe Godbrand will come back. I'd like to see Godbrand come back.
Yeah, I would like to see that too.
Peter Stormare and his sometimes iffy voice acting. It's fine.
So, the other thing about this show is that, like, we got through half of the episodes and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to turn on subtitles now. Because, for one thing, some of these Eastern European accents are hard to parse because I'm not familiar with hearing them.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the voice director, he has everyone talk like this the entire time. It's a lot of muttering.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of really low, gruff muttering going on.
I picked up on most of it. On, like, 95% of it I got, but I also had the volume up, like, really, really loud, so that's part of it. Because I just wanted to, like, really submerge myself in it. But every now and then I'd be like, what did he just say? Can we roll the tape back, please? And let me actually hear what you just said.
Dracula, I get that you're sleepy, but, like, enunciate, buddy. Enunciate.
Please.
Say some words.
Please, my mans, you gotta talk. I love you.
Your dialogue is very smart. I would like to hear it, please.
He's so cool. It's like he doesn't do anything for most of season 2. And then when he does do something, it's like, boy, you are really doing a thing right now. And even when I'm like, I'm so sad, oh god, I'm like, he's so cool, oh god, he's so cool.
The best thing is he doesn't even have to, like, do anything, like, he just has to threaten.
Oh yeah, and he's like, so cool.
That's enough, where he's got that bit with Carmilla, where he's like, so what was worth invoking my anger? And you're like, oh, right.
He's a badass, so right, he's like a god.
He's basically saying, all right, you have one chance to prove why I'm not going to rip your head off right now.
Oh, man. It's incredible, the strength of just, like, a really, really, really good character design. How far that can carry you.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a really strong character design and a good voice actor, boy, you'll go a long way with a character. Like, Dracula just has to say some really threatening shit, and then it's like, oh god, that's right, he's like scary. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he is the king of all vampires. Like, it's him.
Basically a god, yeah.
God, it's so cool.
He's so cool. That's the problem, is that Dracula is so cool that you kind of want him to win, even if you do, like, really like the Trainwreck trio. Like, you know, he's so cool, you're like, I'm kind of rooting for this guy to get away with it. Like, I kind of want you to win and kill literally everything ever. That sounds kind of, because he's just so sad, Ben. You know?
He's just so compelling.
He's compelling, and he's tragic, and he's just so sad all of the time. And I just, like, you want him to win because you want this man to get what he wants for once in his life.
Yeah.
And if what he wants is to kill everything, then by God, you let Dracula kill everything, okay? Like, let the man have something. He couldn't have his wife. He couldn't have... Now, mind you, it's kind of his own fault that he can't have his kid. Because he kind of, like, bisected his kid, but, you know, it's... I'm not gonna say it's fine, but that's okay. Sure, it's all a mess. Everything's a mess all of the time, and then you cry. You just cry for hours after season 2 is over. Who's responsible for that? Whose man's?
We'll have to look up the scenario director for it.
Who directed that last episode where it's like, I'm having a really good time right now. Look at all this resolution. Aw, look at that. Like, Trevor and Cypher, they're, like, making it work. They're gonna be, like, a thing. They've got good chemistry. Everybody's happy. Trevor's like, here, Alucard, you sad bastard. You can have my house. And you're like, yay, that's so heartwarming. You can just tell everybody just loves each other a whole lot. They're all good friends. And Trevor and Cypher ride off into the sunset, and then it's just tears.
Yeah.
It's just Alucard having a meltdown. And you're like, oh, no. Oh no, I'm sad again. Wasn't episode 7 enough, you guys? You really gotta make me sad again?
Y'all had to go that far with it?
Oh no, now I'm crying at the end of all this feel-good shit. I didn't ask for this.
To be fair, like, half of it was feel-good shit, and the other half was, like, Isaac and Carmilla being like, we're still up to our bullshit.
We're still the fucking worst. Oh, man. Boy, though, did anybody deserve it more than Hector deserved it?
Fucking dumbass.
That fucking goon. Like, what did you think was gonna happen, Hector? Did you really think she was just gonna, like, let you... He literally was like, well, I guess it's all fucked. I'm gonna go now. And then Carmilla was like, no, you're not. How did you think this was gonna end, dipshit? Yeah, I'm gonna slap a collar on you and kick the shit out of you. What did you think was gonna happen, Hector? I mean, come on, guy. She's like the worst. It's kind of her thing. She's like a villain.
Yeah, she's a very bad person. Like,
they kind of do like villainous things sometimes, you know? I don't know. Oh, Hector.
Even though she has, like, 5 vampires left.
Look, it's fine. But that's the whole reason she grabbed dumbass Hector, is because it's like, oh, look, we can just make more of them now, because what are you gonna do, idiot? You know? It's fine. Way to go, Hector. Now you're wearing a collar. I mean, though, frankly, I would probably let Carmilla kick my teeth in. You know what I mean? I'm just like, stay step on me. No, it's fine. Hey, it's cool. This is still a family podcast. No, it's not.
I mean, the thing is, though, everyone says that, but, like, you saw what she actually did, and it's like, would you really?
Would you really, though? She's super... It's just, like, she's just so evil, and it is so... Most of the time, you get stuck in these situations, right? You watch these shows, you watch your animes, and your TV shows, you play the video games, and it's like, oh, check it out, that's a lady villain. How much money do you want to bet that she's gonna, like, not be one by the end of the show because of either love or children? You know?
Right, yeah.
How many fucking female villains, like, best example is Full Metal Alchemist 2003, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 female villains in that fucking show, and both of them are like, oh my god, the dick! Oh my god, my kids! You know? And so we're gonna stop being cool, badass, like, villain characters, and instead we're gonna be good guys, because the power of the dick, or the power of my children, which were conceived by the dick, makes me do it. You know? It's like, I'm so bored of it. I hate it. I'm so bored of it. I got let down by, like, we were talking about Tales of Excelia a few days, because we just were, and I was thinking, like, boy, wouldn't it have been great if Muse had just been, like, allowed to be a villain, you know?
The whole time.
Like, the whole time, and hadn't been like, boy, my dick character is, like, a good guy now, so I guess I am too, you know? Like, Gaius had a change of heart, so I am now too, because that's how it works. No.
Even though I murdered a lot of people.
I'm having a change of heart. Fuck, no, that's not what Carmilla's about. Carmilla's like, I'm gonna commit a big murder, and I'm gonna love it. And it's like, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted from a whole show. For once in my life is to have, like, one terrible, terrible piece of shit character who happens to be a lady. You know?
And you definitely got it.
Boy, did I get it super, super hard for once. It's like, not every female character has to be like, oh, I'm so sad about the dick. You know? Like, just let her be a bad person. It's cool. She's cool because she's evil. It's just like every other cool villain character who's like, boy, that person's an asshole. They're kind of cool. You know? Damn, let Carmilla be. Carmilla is that. It's the best. Yeah. Thank you, Warren Ellis. That's all I asked for. Like, she's so cool.
And then you also have Isaac, who is the fucking king of making lemonade.
It's so true. That's a great way.
I mean, that really? Motherfucker saw 5 raiders roll up on him, and he's just like, all right.
Okay then. I think I love that line. Yeah. Where he's got dead bodies around him. He's eating horse. He's just kind of chilling, and he's like, I think I want my own army. I think I kind of want my own army of the undead now.
Like, he was like, he misses Dracula because he loves Dracula, and he's, like, devoted to Dracula, but then, like, he's like, you know what was really cool about Dracula? He had an army. I want an army.
I can make an army.
I'm gonna do that. You know
I'm
what?
gonna do that.
Dracula's dead, so I'm gonna get an army now.
I'm gonna go make me an army, and then we're gonna go ruin somebody's day because I'm sad that Dracula is dead. What I want more than anything is for season 3, when Sypha, Trevor, and Alucard eventually roll up, I want him to be like, who are you 3? Because they never interacted. No, they never did. That was like my one regret about season 2. And now that, like, the Dracula problem has been resolved until it very aggressively isn't, because you know that motherfucker's coming back, probably. In, like, if, like, they get a season 4 of Castlevania, let's be real, we're gonna get Dracula back in some capacity, man. He's too compelling to not, you know?
Okay, so I would, before you finish your thought, though,
yes.
I would fucking love it if season 3 was still Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard, and then season 4 moved on to Simon. That
would be cool. That would be cool, too. But no, my thought was that, okay, we got, you know, the Dracula was a problem, and we had to solve that problem. But now, like, season 3, maybe we can have more interactions between, like, you know, Carmilla being the worst and Isaac being like, hey, I have an undead army now. What's up, idiots? You know, I want that. I want Carmilla to walk into the room and Alucard to be like, oh no, not her. Oh god, it's you. Oh no, get me out of here, please.
And she's like, don't you have anything to say to your Auntie Carmilla? And he's like, no.
No, very much not, bitch. Leave me alone. Let me be sad in my castle with my zombie dog.
He's like, oh, I thought you died too.
Oh, no. Yeah, we were saying that Alucard needs to have an emotional support dog, and it's just Hector's zombie dog.
Yeah, just, I wanted to say that the zombie pug is still alive, and
zombie pug is fine.
Alucard gets to adopt him.
Alucard has a dog. That's what he needs. That's what that sad half-vampire bastard needs. It's just a dumb dog.
He is a dog, so he should get his own dog, too.
Oh, that's right. He does just kind of turn into a wolf at one point, and at no point does, like, Trevor or Sypha be like, excuse me? Because they know the score. They saw him turn into a wolf, and they were like, this might as well be happening.
Well, they're like, I guess that's a vampire power.
They don't know. What do they know? Neither of them know anything. They're both idiots. So.
Besides, they were both busy doing their own cool shit.
Oh god. All of episode 7 is so cool.
The just fucking, like, showing up and like there's just a handful of vampires still fighting left, and the fighting stops immediately because hey, bigger threat
in the form of 3 very, very tired vampire hunters.
Sypha doing the fucking ice sheet thing.
Yeah, like, my mans, how did you think that was gonna go? That's like her weapon, my dude.
That was the Indiana Jones guy with the scimitar.
Yes, it was.
Doing the cool sword stuff, and Indy just pulls out his gun and shoots him.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Sypha, she was running on her very thin sheet of ice, and she's just like,
nope.
Oh.
Whoopsie daisy. No, and like all of Trevor's like fucking magic chain nonsense, how he can just swing it around, it just defies gravity.
And fucking Bloody Tears remix.
Oh, that Bloody Tears remix though. Holy shit. Oh my god. It's so fire.
Trevor's whip just like fucking, kills vampires dead.
Extremely explosively dead. And their fucking like team up attack to take out the last 3 is so cool, where they're all just like swinging in at the same time and like backing each other up, and they've got everybody's backs, and then, you know, Trevor swings the one guy down to the ground, and then Sypha is just like, bye bitch, and turns him into a cinder. How good was that? Come on, whole scene.
How about the way Alucard unsheathed his sword? I had to like turn to Melissa and like mark out for 30 seconds.
I know.
How cool that was.
It's so cool. It's like the most extra bullshit ever. It's like, no, you're not going to take the sword out of the sheath. You're going to take the sheath off the sword, and it's going to just keep hanging out in the air. And you're like, what the fuck? That's so cool. How cool is that?
And then
that's what I mean when I'm like, this is some Devil May Cry nonsense. That's some Devil May Cry nonsense, okay?
And then he started fucking yandoing his sword.
Oh god, yes! That was so awesome! The fact that it can just kind of like hang out behind him, and then like he like swings in and his sword is like zipping around, and he's like fighting vampires hand to hand?
Oh my god, it was
cool. How dope was everything? Was just, the whole thing. And then I also like that at the beginning, you know, Trevor's giving orders and he's like, what is it? Alucard goes all out and we support him. And it's like, that's what you do with your very dramatic friend. You get that one friend who's kind of a drama queen, and you're just like, I got your back, buddy. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I understand completely. Yeah, no, whole episode. It's, again, that's what I was saying. Like, season 2 is just, it's the definition of slow burn. And then when shit pops off, it's 25 minutes of shit popping off.
Of just, like, the fucking best action scenes you can imagine.
Oh my god, everything involving Alucard versus Dracula is absurd, you know? Like, the part where he's zipping around Dracula in the thing?
He fucking starts doing a Maximum Spider from Marvel.
Yes! Oh my god, it's so cool! And everybody, I love the sense that, like, oh, Dracula is like a god. Because Alucard, he stops Alucard's sword with just like his 2 fingers, and you're like, that's really cool. It's really cliche, but it's so cool.
Like, you know, like, everyone is, like, making a big point, like, yeah, I don't think Dracula's been feeding in a while. Like, I think he's getting weak and senile and tired, and then Dracula has to fight Alucard, and he's like, no. No, sorry, guys. You know, Dracula's still a god. I'm just going to summon a sun in here, and I'm going to throw it at you. I'm going to fucking freeze a death ball you.
Yeah. Like, it's no big deal, and it takes all 3 of them to, like, kick it back at him, although that whole sequence is just, like, exactly why the show is good, is the 3 of them, like, watching each other's backs, and you're like, yeah,
well,
that's all I want.
When Trevor and Sypha did the fucking Prince of Persia 08 thing.
Yeah, they did. I was going to say the exact same thing. We both just want Prince of Persia to come back.
Yeah.
Please.
We'll take anything we can get.
I'll take any Prince of Persia at this point, Ubisoft. That's the other problem, is that watching this was like, oh boy, I wish Devil May Cry had a good anime.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I wish Prince of Persia would come back. Oh no. And then, of course, oh boy, I wish Konami would make, like, real video games again. Boy, I like, by the way, that Konami is such, like, a piece of shit company now, by the way, that in watching a Castlevania anime, my thought process was first, I wish a Capcom game would come back, or that I wish a Capcom game got a good anime, and then I wish an Ubisoft game would come back, and then I went, oh yeah, I guess I wish I had a Konami game, too. But
I guess...
But at no point did I ever think, like, oh, Konami makes video games. No, Konami doesn't make video games. They make mobile games and ruin dreams.
Well, here's the ultimate thing. It's like, hey, here's a very high acclaimed anime written by Warren Ellis about Castlevania. Oh, guess what? Smash Brothers, one of the best-selling games of all time in history, gets not 1 but 2 of the most popular Castlevania characters. It also gets a stage, an assist trophy, and a whole boss battle. Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood are getting remakes and getting ports. Hey, Konami, people like Castlevania.
It's crazy.
Maybe you should make a new one?
It's a crazy idea to, like, capitalize on hype. You know what I mean? Like, to be like, oh, look at all this goodwill. I guess we should do something with it.
Like, capitalize on the fact that Castlevania is literally everywhere right now?
No, we're not. No, we're just gonna keep making pachinko games. Oh, okay.
No, okay.
Thanks, Konami. I really hate it. You're all the worst. Thanks a lot, Konami. You continue to... Every time I'm, like, watching Castlevania, and then it pops up and it says, based on the video game by Konami, I'm like, yeah, but we really don't talk about those guys anymore. You know what I mean? So, like,
based on the series by The Company.
The Company. By the problem. By my sworn enemies, you motherfuckers. Where's Silent Hills?
Allegedly by Konami.
Yeah. By a video game, in finger quotes, by Konami. Yeah.
Based on this franchise developed by Konami, allegedly a video game developing studio.
Yeah. God, whatever. Whatever. Jesus.
But no, that fucking final fight with Dracula and all 3 of them, and then breaking off into Alucard versus Dracula and
holy shit.
doing fucking Dragon Ball Z. Like, it just turned into Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, fuck. It was, like, just, like, the best hand-to-hand combat stuff I've seen in a while. And just Alucard zipping around doing magic. And it's just this really crazy, intense fight scene. And, you know, eventually, like, Dracula gets the upper hand on him and he's kicking him through walls. And I'm like, oh god, how is this gonna end? Oh god, this is horrible, you know? And then, like, bam, thrown through a room, and you're like, what is this bedroom? Oh no!
Oh no!
And then you spend the next 40 minutes just going.
It's like straight up is like the most heartbreaking thing ever heard.
It's so sad. It is so, like, shockingly sad, because I was mostly enjoying Castlevania as, like, look at all these assholes. Look at how dysfunctional all of them are. Oh, look, there's blood and gore and some pretty good fights, and, you know, everybody's got, like, a line, and they're all shitheads, and I'm like, I don't really expect this show to make me sad, you know? I went into it being like, I'm gonna have a good time with Castlevania, and it's gonna be my Halloween TV series, you know? No, fuck you. Like, out of nowhere, suddenly I'm just like, oh god, I am so sad right now. Oh no, because it's just so, like, well, for one, Dracula's voice actor, whose name I don't know right now, is very good.
Yeah,
you know?
very, very good at, that emotion.
So much emotion. Oh no, he sold it so hard just the whole time.
You know, it's really great because, like, Dracula is, like, basically a monster. Like,
right.
They even show, like, the scene where, like, he slaughters a village back in his prime. Like, yeah, hey, in case you forgot, like, this guy's a bastard.
Yeah, he's, like, a bad guy. Yeah.
They're doing the right thing. Like, Dracula did nothing wrong, but Trevor and the gang are doing the right thing by putting him down.
Technically, Dracula did maybe a few things wrong, but Dracula did nothing wrong.
Saying Dracula did nothing wrong is different than saying Dio did nothing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's different, okay? And, like, so, like, yeah, they're doing the right thing by putting this guy down because he's lost his mind and all that stuff. But, like, boy, I'm sad. I really didn't want to see him go, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, that... It's so great that, like, all this build-up for this fight and how fucking insane and crazy it was, and then it just immediately de-escalates to that.
And you're just really with it the whole time, because basically as soon as Alucard hits the bed, you're like, this is, oh no, god, this is a little boy's room, oh no! Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, and so, you know, and that's how it ends. It ends with Dracula just giving up.
Yeah.
Because he realizes what he's actually been doing this whole time.
Yeah, he's been, like, killing his son, like, the person that, like, he loves the most, along with his wife, and just the part where he's like, I must already be dead. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sad right now. I'm so sad right now. And it just kind of, and it's like he dies, like, horrifyingly. It's just like a nightmare, too.
Well, I don't know, like, I've loved like, between my tears, like, as my vision blurred, when Dracula's body is still, like, lunging for Alucard.
Yeah, oh my god.
And it's not clear, like, is he trying to embrace his son and his death, or is he, like, are his instincts kicking in to, like, fight? Like,
he's, like, gonna take Alucard with him? Like, what is going... Oh, it's so... And boy, like, the animation in that scene is really good, and you just, like, feel, like, the nightmarish horror that, like, Alucard is just experiencing. Like, oh god, this is definitely not how I wanted to see my father die. And it's just like a nightmare. And then when they finally like burn the body, and all the souls, all of the, like, agony and everything is just all coming out at once. Oh god, it's so intense. Yeah, it's really good.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I am, like I said in the beginning, I am stunned that a series that takes so many liberties with the source material, a Western product based on a Japanese, series.
Mm-hmm. That's a video game.
Yeah, that does so much on Netflix too, which has not a great track record of Western adaptations of Japanese products. Death Note. You can, and the other thing about it is that, it's not like you and I, we don't know anything about Castlevania, so we're like, oh, this is really cool. Mm-hmm. But, even people, even seasoned Castlevania fans are like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, people who actually like Castlevania like the show, which is not expected. Because you would think that because there's so many differences.
Yeah, people were like, oh, I wanted a straight adaptation of 3. I wanted them to go through the castle and do the fights, fight Frankenstein and Death and the Mummy and all that.
Right.
But, no, because that's usually what happens, where it's like, oh, I wasn't a fan of the original product, so I like this spin-off better, right?
Right.
But, no, it's great that it's, that's just a mark of quality of how well it was received.
But, that's the interesting thing, too, is there's, a whole conversation in there about, adaptations, and kind of what makes, for example, the Full Metal Alchemist live-action movie, or the Death Note American live-action adaptation. Hold on. Excuse me. The thing is that both of those are trying too hard to be faithful to the source material. I guess not the Death Note one, but that's, it's got its own problems. But especially, the Full Metal Alchemist one is, you're trying to condense too much stuff down into a format where it doesn't work, right? Mm-hmm. And so, the adaptation game is very, you have to kind of go at it with a gentle hand. There's only a very few studios that can actually do adaptations right. It's really mostly just Bones these days.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of go at it the right way. You have to be willing to make changes. You have to be willing to be like, well, no, this wouldn't work for a TV series. We have to cut it because it just wouldn't work in the context of the story they're trying to tell. And that's what makes the Castlevania show so successful, is that they kept enough stuff, but they also changed enough stuff. Because sometimes it's oh god, the fucking Monster Hunter movie that they're talking about.
Oh, the one where it's the monsters go to the real world and the military will shoot them with their guns.
Yeah, exactly. That's not fun. It's oh, you took a concept and you're adapting it in a bad way. Thanks, guys. It's a science. It's a very delicate science. You have to do it just right. And the Castlevania show has really struck a delicate balance of being here is enough familiar stuff and enough new stuff, and we've remixed it all together, and we've made it into something unique that kind of stands as its own thing. Castlevania is not a spin-off, it's not a tie-in, it's its own little isolated TV series, and you can enjoy it without ever having seen or played anything else relating to Castlevania. And that is amazing, you know?
And the other nice thing about it is that, like you mentioned, it has enough things tying into it where, besides the villager fight, where it's just Trevor showing off the weapons that are available in Castlevania, beyond that, none of the little nods to the series are hey kids, look, it's this character.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's not you're not seeing a shot of a character and it's oh, they're focusing on that guy because he's actually from this game. It's this dude. They're all treated really well, and the characters are reinterpreted in a way that still feels they may not be entirely faithful, especially with Hector, who was changed from a protagonist to an antagonist. Mm-hmm. They're treated like thought went into these decisions, rather than just we got to throw in the thing because that's the Castlevania thing.
Yeah, that's what they expect, and instead there's just a lot of just really intelligent decisions being made. Because I guess the people involved are just have a defter hand about this kind of thing. I don't know if Sam and Adam Dietz are the directors. I guess they're brothers. And they're the ones who have directed most of the episodes. I think it's Sam Dietz that did 90% of them, but every now and then it looks like Adam, his brother, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it was Adam Dietz. I think it's Adam. Either way, he's done most of the directing, and then if you pay attention every now and then, a couple episodes will have his brother credited as well. And so, like, maybe they're Castlevania fans, and they're the ones making the executive decisions to kind of, like, know how to adapt things correctly. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that somebody behind the scenes is like, this is how we're going to treat this adaptation, you know?
Yeah, and I also kind of wonder, like, how much, like, you know, how much of the quality of the series was affected by the fact that Warren Ellis is not a Castlevania fan. Like,
I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you don't want your fans to write your story, because your fans don't always know everything, you know?
Right. I mean, like, you know, you always appreciate when it's like, oh yeah, I'm directing the series and I have been a fan of it for years. Like, I know the ins and outs of what's important about it. But on the other hand, like, fans suck.
Fans do kind of suck. It's kind of a problem, actually.
I mean, like, after watching Castlevania, Melissa and I cooled down by getting caught up on Voltron. Fans suck.
Suck. Oh, Voltron. Do you ever watch a good animated series to trash talk Voltron fans? Sorry. I know you like it, but I'm just like, oh, Voltron.
I will also say, hey, that wasn't a very good series to cool off with.
No.
Because it also hits a lot of emotional highs later on.
Oh, no!
So,
oh, no, I'm sad again. Oh, no, leave me alone,
We got
Voltron.
caught up, and I was like, maybe not the best, like, break show after the emotional toil of Castlevania.
Oh god, the emotional destruction of Castlevania is like a war crime. You watch the last, like, 2 minutes of Castlevania Season 2 and you spend the next 3 weeks just going, why did it have to be so sad? Like, I'm so sad!
The choice to end it with that shot, you know?
Oh, God.
Not with a shot of, like, Trevor and Sypha on the hilltop, or,
right.
or Carmilla up to her bullshit, or Isaac making lemonade, like...
Making lemonade.
No, you end it with Alucard alone, hallucinating his childhood, and
crying, yeah. Oh, God, it's so sad, and, like... It's kind of like, hey, now you know the tone of Castlevania. Mm-hmm. Have fun, idiots. Hope you look forward to Season 3. Yeah. Actually,
it really makes good, like, bookend reversal of what we were talking about with Episode 1, where it opens with romance, heart or tragedy, violence, and goat fucking. The end of the series kind of goes with, like, upbeat, like, heroism, and then, you know, on to our next adventure, and then the villains up to their bullshit, and then Alucard crying.
Alucard being really sad and making me really sad, too. Like, oh, man, I didn't ask for that. You know, it's kind of like, I was having a good time, and now I'm really sad, and I'm going to spend the rest of... Like, what, the next year until we get another season?
God, right?
Probably. It's probably going to be another year until we get another season. So I've got to spend a year being like, oh, Alucard, no, baby. I'm sorry. So that's going to be fun. I'm really glad I got into Castlevania now.
Right. Well,
I guess it's better than, like, getting into Castlevania after 4 episodes that end on a cliffhanger. Boy, what if that had just been the only 4 episodes of Castlevania? That would have sucked.
God.
Could you imagine?
That would have been like worse than Firefly.
That would have been hell. Yeah, to only, like, now it's kind of like if Castlevania hadn't gotten renewed, like, God, thank you that it did get renewed. But if Castlevania hadn't gotten renewed, it would be like, oh, okay, well, this is still, like, a tragic series about tragic shit happening. So, yeah, we're going to end it on a downer note, and it kind of be like, this is the future. And then if it never got, like, you know, if it never got a third season, it'd be kind of like fine, because most everything was resolved in like a neat way, you know?
Well, the other thing about it is that, like, you're going into this knowing that it's a video game adaptation, so ending it on, like, onto the next adventure with a series like Castlevania is fine, because, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, there's much video games.
Simon needs to exist later on. We know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of like you could end it there and you'd still have, like, all the emotional notes of the series that have been tied up in a neat little bow, you know? Mm-hmm. But, like, ending it at the end of episode 4 of season 1 would just be cruel. God. That'd just be mean. You'd literally only get Alucard for, like half of one episode? That's it? You literally wouldn't get anything else out of Alucard. It would just be, like, Trevor and Sypha. It's like, I'm really, really, really glad there was a second season. Especially because the second season is super, super good. Yay! Yeah. Castlevania is really good.
Fucking hell, Castlevania is a really
good
series.
I really want to rewatch it, like, in a couple days, maybe. Mm-hmm. And just, like, really soak it in again. And just be like, oh, God, this show is so good. You know? So, I might do that. I might do that this weekend. Just, like, rewatch Castlevania again.
Just go through it again.
Oh, I'm so sad all of the time. Oh, no. Dracula. I just feel so bad for that old man. I just feel so bad for him. Okay. Are we good?
I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else I wanted to talk about.
Did we work everything else out of our system? Because, I mean, like, everything else would just be me shouting quotes at my microphone. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like, it's just, like, you know, like I said, like, the fact that it's an adaptation like that, I also love the fact that how fucking mature it is. Like, the profanity and gore and everything is... I don't know, I don't think that's how the games work. I think they're all rated teen.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not quite so over the top. But I actually really like the over the topness of it.
I did too. Like, it let Warren Ellis do his thing.
Yeah, just kind of let him do his thing and kind of contextualize these characters in a new way, in, like, a different kind of, like, not setting, but, like, emotional context, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, they're characters that are pretty similar, but still very different. Like, I know everybody is kind of, and not, like, in a bad way, everybody's, like, really amused by the fact that, like, Alucard is, like, mostly, like, a nice guy in the games, apparently. He's, like, kind of quiet. Mm-hmm. Like, he's polite and just kind of quiet. And then in, like, season 2, like, one of his first lines is, yes, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
he talks in a refined way, but, like, the words he's saying are, like... He's kind of an asshole.
He's kind of an asshole, but, like, in a really good way, yeah.
Also, Sypha has that whole bit where she's like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah.
You're just a teenager.
You're a teenager in an adult's body, and he looks so offended.
He gives her that look.
Yeah, where he's just like, excuse, and that's it. Yeah. That's the funny thing is that, like, she's right, because Alucard, like, every teenage boy is like, oh, I found somebody who I can, like, rile up, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna keep fucking with them to just, like, get under their skin, because it's funny. That's, like, what teenage boys do, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's exactly what Alucard is doing. He found Trevor, and Trevor is somebody who takes the bait every single time. And Alucard thinks it's hilarious, because he's a teenage boy. You know? Like, I love it. Sypha's totally right. He's just like a little shit kid teenager who is realizing, oh, I found somebody I can mess with, and he will always bite. It's hilarious. It's great. So, you know... It's some good old-fashioned characterization by a guy who writes good characters. Thanks, Warren Ellis, you crazy rat bastard.
He does.
Oh! Also, the line "snake fuckingly crazy" is one of those, like, aggressively Warren Ellis lines. Mm-hmm. It's another, like, you know, we start with goat fucking, and you're like, oh, okay, Warren Ellis. And then at some point, Trevor is like, he's snake fuckingly crazy, and I'm like, Warren Ellis! I see you! I read Transmetropolitan. I know how you talk, sir. So yeah.
This is the thing, is that like a lot of people will compare Warren Ellis and Garth Ennis, who are both comic writers, and this is mostly a bit for me.
Go for it.
I appreciate that they're both fucking grimy as hell. Like,
right.
I have read Punisher Max, and I have read The Boys, and those are both by Garth Ennis, and I have read Transmetropolitan, and I've watched Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I appreciate that underneath the grime and filth and F words, like, Warren Ellis has like a bit more heart to it.
I mean, ultimately, Castlevania still does have like a kind of cheesy friendship says everything ending. You know what I mean?
In like a way, but it's like,
but like in a good way. I mean, it's still like, yeah, power of friendship and love is kind of what saved them from Dracula. You know?
Yeah, but in a way that's more like, oh, because they cooperated and worked together and care about each other. Yeah,
exactly. But it's still like a form of power. I mean, there's literally a part where the three of them repel and attack together, which is like the most anime power of friendship shit you can do. But it's like presented in a more grounded way. But you're right, there's more heart there. Because, I mean, like, that's still pretty nice. Like, those are still, at the end of the series, there's still that really great moment where Sypha puts her hand on Alucard's shoulder, and she takes Trevor's hand, and they literally walk into the dawn together to, like, take in a new day. Like, come on.
Like,
you know?
It's great.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's a little, it's not like as aggressively like, oh, grimdark Western series is, I mean, it is, oh boy, is it. But it has kind of its moments of like niceness and softness and humanity that set it apart.
The other thing is that like those moments exist, but they don't exist to be snuffed out later, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they actually serve a purpose, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, Alucard and Trevor are friends. That doesn't exist so that Alucard can betray him later, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, it's still, I mean, like, you know, yes, it does end with Alucard crying, but it also ends with Trevor and Sypha going to go hang out, and Sypha's like, yeah, you are a better person now because we've been hanging out.
Yeah, and like at no point is that like really snuffed out of him. It's actually like continually encouraged. It's not like it's not your George R.R. Martin, your fucking Game of Thrones, where like everybody's goodness and humanity is slowly ground out of them under somebody's heel. Right. It's actually a story about like three people learning to be like better versions of themselves. You know, and then that character development actually stays. It isn't washed away, or they're not punished for being like good. There never once like is a moment where it's like, you were such a fool for having a kind heart, you know, because that's really overdone. Mm-hmm. And instead, like, it's always like, oh, you all believed in each other and you all care about each other, and that is constantly being presented as the correct thing to do, you know.
Yeah, it's nice that way. It also reminds me a lot of, like, one of the things that this anime reminds me of in general is, boy, it is 90s as fuck, isn't it? In style.
Boy. Yeah, it fucking is.
The art style is like, oh boy, this is a mid-late 90s series. Like,
with just a lot more polish on it, yeah.
Right, like you could easily see this airing on like really, really early Adult Swim, right?
Like early Adult Swim, or like at 3 o'clock in the morning on the Action Network.
Yeah.
Which used to play like really gory anime and stuff, and you'd watch it and it would like ruin your life because you were 12 years old and you saw Akira for the first time and you didn't understand, which is what happened to me.
Like, I feel like everyone in the world has a Ninja Scroll story.
Everybody on Earth has a Ninja Scroll story. You are so right. I have a Ninja Scroll story. You've got a Ninja Scroll story. Holy shit.
We all got tricked by Ninja Scroll VHS at your Blockbuster.
It's so true, because we're all like, ninjas, like the Ninja Turtles, and it's an anime like Dragon Ball Z. What's the worst that could happen? Oh God, you know, like that's exactly what it is. Yeah, Castlevania is a thing you could see airing at like late at night on Adult Swim to traumatize some small child.
who was hoping to see Goku fight Vegeta.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, they get Castlevania, or they get Hellsing, or Vampire Hunter D, or, you know...
Oh, God. Vampire Hunter D. Boy! No, wait. Is that for fucking shit? I guess Vampire Hunter D predates all of them. Like, for, like, the vampire thing.
Does it predate Hellsing?
Yeah! Vampire Hunter D? Are you kidding? Yeah. No, it's like an old 80s anime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, there was... Then I think it was a manga before then. There's like... Okay. Oh, we're gonna do a little tangent here. There's a manga, I think. Don't quote me on that one. I'm pretty sure. Most things had a manga. There's a manga that was like in the 70s or 80s, and then there's a Vampire Hunter D movie that came out in the 80s and is not good. I don't care. Somebody is going to get on Twitter and be like, it's a classic. No, it's not. Take off your nostalgia goggles. Go rewatch that shit. It sucks. And then like years later was Bloodlust, which is like a piece of art, and everybody on Earth should see Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust because it's so good. Oh my god. And that was post Hellsing, although I am pretty sure that Hellsing draws a lot of inspiration from Vampire Hunter D. I mean, like, they both have like giant hats and shit like that.
I have it pulled up right here.
Oh, good. Hit me.
It was a novel series.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, because Yoshitaka Amano did the animation, or the illustrations, and that's the Final Fantasy guy.
The novel started in 1983,
okay.
But there was a film.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
1985.
That's the old movie I saw.
Old one.
Yeah.
And then there was a film in 2000. And there wasn't a manga adaptation until 2007.
Okay, so then the 2000 movie is Bloodlust. Like,
yes.
I think that's its... I don't know if that's what they called it in Japan, but that was its subtitle in America. It was Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. And, like, if you haven't seen that, we need to do movie night. Because that's kind of one of those shows that I saw kind of a little too young. Not like 12 years old watching Akira at 3 a.m. But I was like 15 or 16, and I saw Bloodlust with some friends, and I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? And I mean, mostly because it's not like incomprehensible. It's not like, there's a bunch of like those old anime movies that everybody's like, Cat Soup is one. You've never heard of it, probably.
Right.
But Cat Soup is one of those like weird anime that everybody saw kind of like in a fever dream. And it's not weird like Cat Soup or anything like that. But
if you're expecting a certain kind of anime and it's not that, you're like, I don't get it.
I don't get it, and it's just weird and dark, and it's got a very old-fashioned art style, but with like a very 2000, like very beautifully hand-animated cell paintings, but the art style is very Amano.
Right. Right.
So good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, and then Hellsing was in 97. So that was, definitely way older.
So, Vampire Hunter D influenced Hellsing and probably Castlevania as well.
Probably a little bit of Castlevania in there, too.
Yeah.
But no, like, on that point of, like, being confused, though, I do want to, like, mention a side story for, like, a personal story for that one. Being, like, I had a friend in grade school that was like, you gotta check out Neon Genesis Evangelion, it's about giant robots, and I'm like, I like Zoids.
No, oh no, oh no.
Definitely not Zoids.
It's not. Have you ever seen all of Ava all the way through?
I actually have not seen all of Ava.
That's another thing. Oh god, that should be one of our like discussion like shows one day is just sit down and binge Ava and then be like, hey Ben, how did you handle End of Evangelion? How are you doing, buddy?
How do you feel?
How you feel, buddy? How are you doing right now? Are you okay?
How does that make you feel?
Here, Ben, I'm going to psychoanalyze you after making you, like, you should never, if anybody on Earth tells you the words, oh yeah, I'm going to binge Ava over a weekend, you are legally allowed to, like, slap the DVDs out of their hand. Be like, no!
No, you gotta pace yourself.
You have so much to live for! Because, like, I binged Ava, and it kind of, like, ruined my life for, like, 6 months. I was in high school, and I watched all of Ava, and then the aftermath, I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. Oh, God. Yeah, it's really good. But, yeah, no. That's a really big tangent to say that, Castlevania feels like one of those anime.
Yeah. Castlevania feels like a show that you probably shouldn't have watched when you were 9.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
And, like, one scene sticks with you forever, but, like, you don't know what it's from until, like, years later when, like, you see it in, like, a YouTube compilation. You're like, oh, fuck, that's it!
Fuck, that's the thing! Oh my god! And it's, like, haunted you for your whole life after that. Yeah. That's exactly what Castlevania is. Like,
and then
100%.
You're like, oh, was that thing good? It was alright.
It was alright. Except Castlevania is really good. Yeah!
Castlevania's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would usually say, like, watch it even though we spoiled it, but, like, we spoiled what?
We didn't really
Dracula wins? Like, Dracula loses?
Yeah, and it's really sad at the very end.
Yeah.
We really didn't spoil that much, so, like, you should definitely see it.
It's one of those great series where, like, there's not much to spoil. Like, it's fairly straightforward. Like, there's not going to be a lot of, like, twists and, like, weird betrayals and turns and stuff, but, like, watching the inner politics of these assholes and then watching these other 3 assholes, like, figure out how to be friends.
Yeah, it's nice and kind of straightforward and has a lot of really good action sequences kind of intercut in all of that. It was smart of them to be like, hey, let's do some flashback or dream animated sequences to kind of make up for the fact that this is a lot of talking this season.
Yeah, we gotta throw in some action scenes.
And it totally worked. It's fine. You know, we get that one really great flashback of Dracula being like a total monster. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of all you needed. There's like the good fight scene at the beginning. There's the flashbacks. There's a few little short sequences like that. And then there is the whole episode of fighting.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, oh yeah, that was good. It was like a little sandwich of content. It was good.
Yeah.
So you should
really
watch
good.
Castlevania. It's only 12 episodes. And now it feels like a full-fledged, like, TV series, you know?
Yeah, now it feels like an anime, like a 12-episode anime series.
Yeah, it's like spending a night watching, like, Madoka or like, Baccano, you know? Like, spend a night and watch Castlevania. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. They all go really quickly because of Netflix power.
Yes,
like,
it's so good.
So that's the other really cool thing is, like, now we're getting shows that are made for Netflix.
Yeah, so you can, like, skip the credits and things like that, and everything just kind of, like, flows together very nicely.
Yeah, but not just that, but, like, we are getting, like, shows are being written to be binged.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Like, an episode of Castlevania kind of ends because, like, it reached the 28-minute mark, and it's time to end the episode. But, like, you aren't getting, like, conclusions of things. It's just kind of keeps leading into each other. And you only go to the next episode because the time ran out and Netflix needs to make sure you're still breathing. Yeah,
Netflix needs to make sure you're alive.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, are you okay in there? Are you ready for another episode? Yes, Netflix. I would like another episode of Castlevania, please. So,
yes, please. Yes. Please, sir, may I have some more?
Please, sir, may I have season 3 now? I'm dying already, and it's only been a few days. So, yeah. Oh, God. How am I going to survive a year? Why did you do this to me?
Well, you know what you can do?
Play Castlevania?
Play Symphony of the Night.
You're right. I should probably at least play Symphony of the Night in 3 and at least get that out of the way. You're right. Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Then we can like talk about like the differences.
Ooh, fancy.
Well, for one thing, in the anime, Trevor never fought Medusa's head, so that's pretty different.
That's pretty different.
They never went to a big giant clock tower.
Nobody fought Frankenstein.
Yeah. I was hoping we'd get one
I know you're a big Frankenstein's monster fan.
Not that. I was really hoping Death would show up.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird for the tone. I guess in that way, Dracula kind of is death, you know? Like, for the theming of the story, Dracula kind of, he is both the devil and death itself, kind of. He's kind of framed as both of those things.
But, you know, it's one of the things like, okay, well, yeah, obviously in this very serious adaptation, we're not going to get a big green man with a flat head and bolts in his neck. We're not going to get we're not going to get a big giant mummy.
Right.
We're not going to get a werewolf, but like death, you could have done death.
Could have done death in some way, but you know, it's okay.
Maybe
It ultimately all totally paid out just fine. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so don't be surprised if like in the near future I'm like, hey, so I bought Symphony of the Night.
Let's play Symphony of the Night now. We'll do that instead, and maybe learn to like Castlevania games. Because me and Metroidvania games, I'm just kind of like ambivalent toward. But maybe if I like actually like play a really good one, it'll click for me. I don't know. Because as a concept, I'm always just like, it's not really my thing. But maybe I just need like a really good Metroidvania to light the spark. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then I can just wait until Bloodstained comes out.
Exactly. All right.
I can't wait for Bloodstained. Okay, yeah. So let's
wrap it up.
Yep, that'll do it for us. Thank you to Visitor Fuse for background music. You can follow us on Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to another podcast that's also about monsters and people being monsters and being total assholes to each other, well, that season's over, but you can still listen to it.
Yeah, you kind of got there. You could have also gone with, like, scoundrels in, like, a Victorian setting, learning to like each other and work together. Because, hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends sit around and we play tabletop games together. Right now we're playing Blades in the Dark, which is very Castlevania. It's a system centered around stealing things in a steampunk sort of Victorian-era city, and it's been a lot of fun. You should come check us out. We're at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
Alright, so that'll do it for us.
Fuck Hector.
Yeah, fuck Hector, that piece of shit.
That piece of shit. What did you think would happen? I swear to God, I am, like, so baffled by Hector. He's like, oh no, I have to go to... And Carmilla's like, you've betrayed Dracula, dipshit. Yeah. Like, what did you... Do you think you can go back now? No, dumbass, that's not how this works. Are you stupid? Hector is the biggest idiot in Castlevania. You know?
Out of all the fuck-ups, Hector fucked up the hardest.
Just the hardest. So, fuck Hector.
Yeah. Fuck Hector. Good night, everyone.